Alright guys, so I have the OnePlus 8 here. This is the T-Mobile version. I got it about 3 days ago, and I did, originally when I got it, I did a quick initial unboxing as soon as I got it. And if you want to check that video out, please do so. But this video here, I wanted to do more of a review of the phone, my initial impressions, kind of go through the specs a little more, kind of go over my pros and cons of the phone, and if it's worth your hard-earned $699. So, like I said, this is the T-Mobile version. I did at least want to go over some of the basics that you do get regardless, even if I did that unboxing video. I do want to show you really quick what you do get in the box. So when inside the box, you do get the kind of little packet here with the warranty info and the SIM card ejector and yada yada yada. You do get your traditional red type A to type C warp charge charging cable, and then of course you get your warp charge 30T power brick here. So you do get that, but if you notice, you do not get a clear free case with the OnePlus 8 for some reason. I don't know if that is a carrier version thing or if that is just the norm with the OnePlus 8. So if you did happen to get a OnePlus 8 from OnePlus directly, maybe comment down below and let me know if you did actually receive that new clear case with the embossed kind of never settle in the case. But it is disappointing to see that it didn't come with that case, considering the 6T, the 7 Pro, and the 7T all came with a free clear case inside the box. But hey, is what it is. I did order the carbon bumper case already. Should be here in the next couple of days. I'll kind of do a review of that as well, or kind of a quick, hey, here it is on the phone, tell me what you think type of thing. But you know, keep your eyes open for that. Now, as far as the phone itself goes, I did end up going with just Onyx Black. I didn't want to get the Interstellar Glow. They had it available, but I just prefer black. I just think it's a lot more classic look. As far as the phone itself goes, you do have your vertical triple camera arrangement here, very similar to the 7 Pro. Then of course your flash, and then of course the new OnePlus logo, and then the word OnePlus there. Now the Verizon carrier version, for whatever reason, doesn't have OnePlus here. It does have the 5G logo with the Verizon logo on it. So I think that's kind of a step backwards for Verizon, at least. I don't know why they did that, because I used to hate when phones would come out. You get a brand new Samsung phone, then you got a big giant Sprint logo on the back or something like that. I just feel that's kind of weird, but whatever. Now, as far as the left side goes, you do have your volume rocker there, and then on the right side you have your alert slider to change the ring, vibrate, or silence, and then of course you got your power button here. Now you do have your speaker grill. It's a little bit smaller than the 7T, which I did like, because the 7T was huge. Here it's a little bit smaller, which I do enjoy, because when I talk on the phone, which I talk on the phone a lot for a living, I found myself having to move the phone around in my ear to get a good loud volume coming out of the earpiece when I was talking on the phone. So that was kind of annoying. Plus, I don't think it had a dedicated proximity sensor on the 7T, which this one does, so that's nice. And then, of course, you can see there the punch hole or hole punch camera there. And then on the bottom, you have the Type-C port, the speaker grill, you have a mic, and then the SD slot. And then on the top, you do have that mic up there. The phone's edges are a matte finish, so it does feel good in the hand whenever I'm holding it without a case on. It does have the waterfall curved edge, which I kind of have mixed feelings about, but I'll get more into that once I go over the display stuff. But as far as the overall impression or initial impression of the phone in the hand, it does feel really, really, really good. It's 180 grams, so it's 10 grams lighter than the 7T. But to give you an example of another flagship phone, like the Galaxy S20 is 163 grams, which is obviously significantly lighter than this one, but this phone is technically bigger screen, bigger battery, so you kind of get the good with the bad, I guess you could say. But yeah, so as far as the phone in the hand, it's a narrower ratio than the 7T, so I do get a good grip. Obviously with the glass back, and I mean it's just super slippery, so I definitely would recommend putting a case on, or a D-brand skin, or Soapy Guard skin, something to help with that. But it is definitely a fingerprint magnet, as you can see in the reflections there. But no big deal. Like I said, I always have a case or something on it, so it doesn't really gonna bother me at all. Now, as far as the performance goes, it is, well, excuse me, let me rewind that a little bit. It is IP68 certified, so the carrier version is. For some reason, OnePlus, if you buy it directly from them, doesn't give an IP certification for some reason, but T-Mobile has definitely come out and said that it is IP68 certified, so that is a huge bonus getting the carrier version, so that is a feather in the hat for the carrier version. Now obviously the drawback going with the carrier version is you don't get updates as fast as if you would going through OnePlus. So you can't download like the Oxygen OS updater or anything like that. It just, that sucks because it does take a while. Like like with this out of the box, it did have an update ready to go, and now it's got the security patch for April 2020. But like my 7T, that just happened as well, but it was the January 2020 security patch, so it was 4 months behind. So that was kind of a pain, but whatever. Now, as far as the internals, it is the newest shiny Qualcomm Snapdragon 865, so it's the newest chipset out for them. Super fast. It is 5G ready, so I have T-Mobile obviously. So as you can see there, 5G T-Mobile. I live in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and I've been getting 5G everywhere I've been going. Did some speed tests ranging anywhere from 50 megs all the way up to about 300 megs. So take that however you want. It is, in my opinion, obviously faster than 4G LTE, but is it worth an extra $200 bump? That's up to you, I guess. Now, as far as the display, it is 90 hertz, so that's nice. It is a 4300 milliamp battery, so it's a big jump from the 7T. Now, there is no wireless charging or reverse charging on the 8, so only on the Pro. So on the 8, you're just stuck with the Warp Charge 30T, which in my opinion is okay because, with the Warp Charge 30T, it is 23% faster than the Warp Charge 30 charger. So from 0 to 50%, it took me about 27 minutes to get to that. I did a complete from 0 to 100. It was right at almost exactly an hour. So to be able to juice my phone up, charge it up, go take a shower, get ready for work, boom, and get like 50% or more, I would take that over wireless charging all day. But at the end of the day, with the wireless charging that the 8 Pro has with the dedicated OnePlus charging stand, getting that 30-watt charging, I mean, that's very enticing, but you have to use their charging stand and, whatever. But yeah, so you don't get wireless charging, so that is a drawback a little bit. So if you're someone that absolutely has to have wireless charging, this is not the phone for you then. Now, with the snappiness of the phone, with it having that 865 chipset, It does feel very, very, very fast in the hand, or excuse me, fast in the hand, fast as far as just everything goes. It's super, super responsive. I mean, I'm literally just able to go through so many things, and it's quick. Now for me, out of the box, I like to go in and change, as far as like, doing the developer mode type of thing, so double, clicking the build number a bunch, and then being able to go in and then go to the developer options and then go into the animation scales. I'm a big fan of changing these to 0.5 versus the versus 1 that comes out of the box. So it does give you that little bit more snappy feeling, but you still have some animation with the phone. So let me know if y'all do that as well. But I used to do 0, but then I hated not having any animation, so I do like that. So either way, so just an idea there. But it is very snappy. It does feel faster than the 7T, but once again, that might be just me looking for something like that, but it does feel significantly snappier. That's for sure. Now, as far as the display goes, it is a 6.55 inch Full HD Plus AMOLED display. It is a stunning display to look at. I literally, the colors pop very well. It's super bright, especially in direct sunlight. The blacks are very dark. The colors are very punchy. The colors are very true that I've seen. Now, granted, I've done a different calibration for the screens. I know you can do like vivid and all that, but I do the advanced one and make it a little more warmer because I like my whites to feel a little more white and not like that blue hue or blue tint to them. So either way, let me know what y'all do with your kind of customization and everything with that. But as far as the display, like I said, goes, with it being that AMOLED display, it is very, very, very good. I mean, it's a damn good display. I mean, just a good example of how dark some of these can be. Like, there's the hole punch camera there, and it's hard to see because it's so dark, and it's matching the blackness or the darkness of that hole punch camera. So, so that's kind of cool. So like, like right there, like when I scroll down and the notification panel is black, that hole punch is hard to see. So I like that. So either way, but it is 90 hertz, like I said earlier. 90 hertz is insane. It's super smooth. It is a huge jump from 60 hertz. You can downgrade to 60 hertz if you want, but it's really dumb, in my opinion, to do that, because you get a big giant 4300 milliamp battery. You're not worrying about running out of battery juice or anything like that. So please take advantage of the 90 hertz and don't downgrade to 60. Stick at 90. It'd be a different story if it was 120 to 90. So the 8 Pro obviously is 120 hertz. This is 90. Can you tell a big difference between the two? Maybe a little bit, but not really. But 90 to 60, huge difference. So once again, please, I beg you, stick with 90 hertz. So definitely do that. Now, as far as the camera goes, you do get a little bit of an upgrade on the camera. The aperture is a little different than the 7T. You do get that 48 megapixel main sensor, and then it's a 16 megapixel wide angle, and then instead of a telephoto lens, you are now getting a macro dedicated lens, which is 2 megapixels. So like I said earlier, the camera bump is pretty slim, so it's not a nuisance like the 8 Pro. The 8 Pro's got a little bit bigger bump, but and then of course on the front with your hole punch camera, it's a 16 megapixel camera. Now, as far as the video capability on the camera, you can shoot 4K 60 frames per second, 4K 30 frames per second, and then of course 1080 60, 1080 30, And then it does have slow motion, it does have time lapse, it's got all those things. Now, with the camera app itself, with the new camera app, it is a little bit different than the one that we had on the 7T and the 7 Pro, so just the look of it's a little bit different. But yeah, I like it. I mean, you can switch from the 12 megapixels to the 48 megapixels there. Now with the macro camera, like looking at my watch here, I mean, the camera is almost touching my watch, and I mean, it does a good job, but you know, how often are you going to use the macro lens? I don't know. For me, I liked the idea of how the 7T had the telephoto lens but still had macro, because I can't tell a huge difference between this macro lens and the macro capability that the 7T had. So let me know what you think about that in the comments below. But I mean, in my opinion, I would have much rather had a dedicated telephoto lens instead of the macro, but hey, is what it is. The digital zoom or digital cropping or whatever they call it for the zoom capability of getting that a little bit better zoom with your phone, it does a good job, but I do think that once you get past ×2 or ×3, it does get real blurry. The image is very grainy, so if you try to do a 10 times zoom all the way, it's not even worth your time. But ×2 or ×3, it does a really good job. The colors pickup are very good. Obviously, it's not a pixel kind of quality, but OnePlus has really stepped up over the years on really doing a good job on their software and really dedicating a lot of time to their camera. So, you know, with that being said, I think the camera is a step in the right direction. There could always be tweaks that can be done. I'm sure with software updates, eventually they will, fix a few things here and there. I do like that with the punch hole camera, you do get that glow around it, reminding you, hey, here I am, this is where you need to look. And even when you're doing a selfie or anything like that, that will also glow, so you'll know where to look. So yeah, I found that to be a big help with my kids, because they're always looking everywhere. And with the 7 Pro, they knew exactly where to look, because they thought the camera pop-up was cool. So with this, I'm like, hey, look at the shiny thing, and then cheese, so it works. But yeah, now I also like to take off the beautifying and everything of the selfies and everything like that, because I prefer a more natural look than an oversaturated or filtered beautified look of smoothing my skin out. I like all the flaws, I like all the natural colors that I can, versus the smoothness and brightness that a beauty filter might try to do. Now, one thing that I also would like to go over is Oxygen OS. So with Oxygen OS on here, Oxygen OS is my favorite by far out of all of the different versions of Android 10, or Android in general, but it's super clean, it's highly customizable, it gives you that stock Android feel, but still gives you those tweaks that you would like to do. Now, there's so many little things you can do with this, like where as far as you can go in and of course go to like customization, change your clock style, fingerprint animation, all that, change the buttons, change, do you want them circled, do you want them teardrop, do you want, squared, whatever. I love that you can go in and change the home settings and do the home screen layout, have different number of columns, change the icon size, go in and change the type of icon. I personally downloaded this pixel icon pack, and I love being able to go in and edit the app and change what it looks like if I wanted to, and things like that. So, I just personally like being able to do all those extra little things without, having to go and download like a Nova launcher or something like that. So I really do like the customization. There are some things that they did do a little different with this one. So for example, like in the like to give you an idea here, like under utilities and going to the OnePlus Lab, you can enable dark tone in more apps. Now for me, I don't have very many apps downloaded that have the capability, but it almost does like a forced dark on certain apps that maybe don't come naturally dark. So I would love to see Facebook be able to do it on here, but hey, that is what it is. I do like that they allow you to do the quick launch. I don't really use it much, but it is a nice feature to have. Another thing that they do that I wouldn't use very, very much, but under buttons and gestures, you can hide the bottom bar. I like to have it, but hey, you can do whatever you want with it. You can press and hold the power button to open up your assist. Now I know with my 7T I was able to do it, but it never really worked. But with this, if you did it, you can hold the power button and it'll pull up Google Assistant or Amazon Alexa, so whichever one you prefer that you use the most. But then when you do have that on, to turn it off, you have to hold the power button and the volume up button at the same time, and then it turns off the phone. So, or pulls up the power off menu, and then you can restart, turn off, whatever. So I do like that you can do that, but I prefer being able to hold the power button and pulling that up instead of having to do that extra step, because I'd rather just say, okay, Google, and then it pull up here. So, but to each his own. So let me know in the comments down below what you prefer. But as far as, like I said, just Oxygen OS in general, it's my favorite. I do genuinely love the stock feel, not the extra bloatware, all that. So now you do have a little bit of a drawback in my opinion, which I assumed OnePlus would have already done it by now, but you don't get an ambient display. Now I did see today that OnePlus has confirmed that they are working on an ambient display, should be ready to go in June or July. So I'm super stoked about that, because I know on some of the older OnePlus phones they did have ambient display and now they don't. So I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't mind this, but it would be nice to have an always on ambient display of some sort. So an always on display, and I should have said that, I don't know why I kept on saying ambient display, but an always on display, excuse me. So you do have an ambient display, but I want it to be on all the time. So my mistake there. Guess I could do a little rewind there. And then another thing that they're working on is folders, being able to do folders within the app drawer. So that is one thing that I like with the Nova launcher, is you can do folders inside the drawer app, or in the drawer. I think that's a really nice feature, so I am looking forward to eventually getting that as well. But overall, definitely an A+ for Oxygen OS. So as far as recommending the phone, it is a no-brainer. Go and buy it. I mean, if you want a phone for $699 that gets you 5G, IP68 rating if you go with a carrier version, but just gives you all the checkboxes as far as Qualcomm 865, 5G, 8 gigs of RAM, 128 gigs of storage, which I know they make a 12 gig 256, but I believe T-Mobile only is offering the 8 gigs 128. But hey, there's no expandable storage, but 128 gigs, it's quite a bit. But I do highly recommend the phone. I personally love OnePlus phones, so I think they did it right here. Could there have been some little tweaks here and there that they could have done a little differently? Sure, but that's with any phone. So hope you enjoyed this review. Please leave any comments down below that if I left out anything or you want me to elaborate on anything. or you just hate this video, want to tell me to go jump off a bridge, whatever, let me know. Subscribe if you liked, please. And yeah, I hope y'all have a great day, guys. Be safe out there.